Welcome back on another session of technical mathematics, where we are going to look at another part of finance growth and decay. The paper that we have here is from November 2019. It's from November 2019 from the province of Eastern Cape. Then there's the paper that we are going to look at and indulge the questions so that we provide all relevant clarity to our learners. Then let us read the question 8.1. 8.1, it says Andrea bought a plasma television for an amount that is equivalent to 3,500 rand on the higher purchase agreement or on the higher purchase price. Now we understand from this statement to say in this case we are dealing with the higher purchase agreement. Then as we read further, it says she paid a 15% deposit and continued to pay the balance on a monthly basis over 24 months. It means now it will take Andrea to pay this plasma TV. It will take 24 months for her to complete paying back the amount that will be due after buying this particular plasma television. Then the questions are as follows. 8.1.1, it says determine the amount Andrea paid as a deposit. Now, learners, candidates, you can't take 3.5 and you are saying 3.5 is your deposit. No. Remember, 3.5 is an amount, is a cost of this TV. It means for me to buy this TV, I need to pay this much. But as you are reading, they have said to you, she paid 15%. They gave you a deposit in percentage. Therefore, you must go and look for 15% of this amount, which is the cost of the plasma television. You convert it from percentage to rents. Then how do you convert from percentage, which is 15%, which is the deposit, to rents? Then you need to take the cost of that particular item. In this case, Andrea was buying a plasma. You are going to take the cost of that plasma. In this case, the cost of this particular plasma, it cost an amount of 3,500 rand. Then you are going to multiply this cost by the percentage she paid as a deposit. In this case, it is 15%. Then that 15% you must also divide it by 100%. Then this is going to give us the amount that Andrea paid as a deposit in rents. Then we use our calculators to say 3,500 rand multiplied by 15 all over 100%. This gives us an amount that is equivalent to 525. It means 15% of 3,500 rand is an amount equivalent to 525 rands. There's an amount that Andrea paid as a deposit. There's a way in which you convert this percentage, which is the deposit in percentage, to rents. You take the cost of an item in rents, you multiply it by that percentage she paid as a deposit, then you divide it by 100. It's going to give you the amount in rents, which is deposit. Let me just indicate here, it's a deposit. It's a deposit. Then that's how you maneuver the question as far as the deposit is concerned when we are dealing with higher purchase agreement. Then we are still moving on. 8.1.2. In 8.1.2, it says we are required to determine the total amount paid at the end of 24 months if the interest rate charged on this hire purchase agreement, it is 8% per annum. Now remember, when we are dealing with the hire purchase, when you are required to calculate the total amount, you must use the simple interest formula. In a nutshell, the hire purchase agreement question, it requires you to use the simple interest formula to answer the question with regard to the total amount to be paid at the end of the contract. Then we are going to start with writing the formula, which is going to allow us to answer this particular question. Then the simple interest formula, it says A, that is said to be equal to P in bracket 1 plus I multiplied by N. If we are required to calculate the total amount to be paid for the duration of the contract, then you are required to use the simple interest formula, because the hire purchase, it uses the simple interest formula. But now, letter P, letter A, letter I, and letter N, now they change the meaning according to the hire purchase, because in this regard, we are not dealing with borrowing and also investing. Because when we speak of investing, we know that P, it becomes the principal amount, the A becomes the accumulated. But when we speak to the hire purchase, the P becomes the balance after you shall have paid a deposit. That's why the question in 8.1.1 required us to pay a deposit to calculate the amount of the deposit that Andrea paid. Then P here is the balance after you shall have paid a deposit. Then A here, it symbolizes, or it talks to the total amount to be paid for the duration of the contract. Then I is the interest rate charged on the hire purchase. Then N is the number of years, not in months, is the number of years for that particular hire purchase agreement. Now, in this case, we must go and look for P. In this case, the balance after we shall have paid a deposit. Now, how do you get the P? Remember, we have the deposit in rents. To get the balance, let me write that. The balance, which is the P, balance after you shall paid a deposit. This is how you are going to get your balance. Balance, it will be equal to the cost of an item. Then in this case, Andrea wants to buy a plasma television. It cost an amount equivalent to 3,500 rand. Then from this cost of an item, which is 3,500 rand, we must minus or take out a deposit that she already paid. In this case, Andrea paid a deposit that is equivalent to 525. This is going to give us what is called a balance after you shall have paid a deposit. Then from the cost of an item, 3,500 rand, we are going to take out the deposit that she paid already, 525. Then the amount that is left there, that is called a balance. Then the balance that Andrea needs to pay back, it is the amount equivalent to 2,975. Then this becomes our P. But I want to emphasize so that it is clear, where there is no deposit, because there is an instance where you have a hire purchase, but there is no deposit that needs to be paid. It means P now, it becomes the cost of an item. But where there is a deposit, it means the P becomes the balance after paying a deposit. Remember, in this case, we are looking for A, which is the total amount to be paid for the duration of the hire purchase agreement or the hire purchase contract. Then in this case, we are looking for A. Then originally P, which is the balance after paying a deposit. P in this case, it is equivalent to 2,975. That is an amount that Andrea is expected to pay back. Then in bracket 1 plus, then as you have read 8.1.2, it says if the interest rate charged to this hire purchase, it is 8%, then we are going to use that as I, interest rate charged. Then 8, always remember to divide by 100% when you have that interest rate there. Then multiply. Please, where you see N, you can't substitute the number of months. Remember, N is in years. Then you must just maneuver to say 24 months is equivalent to how many years? And we know that 24 months, it is equivalent to 2 years. Then where we see n, we are going to substitute 2 there instead of 24 months. Then we are going to use our calculators to find out the total amount to be paid by Andrea. Then 2.975, open bracket, 1 plus 8 divided by 100, multiply by 2 years there. Then it is going to give us the amount equivalent to 3,451 rands. There's a total amount to be paid back by Andrea at the end of 24 months period. That is the hire purchase agreement question. Then if we go back to 8.1.1, the mark allocation there, it was 1 mark. Then we are going to give you 1 mark for the deposit, 525. Then 8.1.2, mark allocation there, 4 marks. Then 1 mark, it will be choosing the correct formula from the formula sheet. That as far as the hire purchase agreement is concerned, we are going to use the simple interest formula. Then 1 mark for correct I and N, 8 divided by 100, multiply by 2. Then 1 mark for correct substitution into the correct formula, and the 1 mark for the total amount to be paid, which is 3,451 rands. Then mark allocation there, it will be 4 marks there. That is that about 8.1.2. Then we are still moving. We go to 8.1.3. 8.1.3. In 8.1.2, this is where we are. 8.2. In 8.2, the question it reads as follows. It says, calculate the nominal interest rate. In this case, we are required to determine the nominal interest rate of an investment if the effective interest rate, it is 7.5% per annum compounded quarterly. Now, in this case, we are given the effective interest rate and we are required to determine the nominal interest rate. Then from the formula sheet, you must just look for the formula that says I effective, which is the effective interest rate in this regard. That is said to be equal to, in bracket, 1 plus I divided by M, close bracket, all to power of M, minus 1. Then in this case, as we are reading the question, we are given the effective interest rate, meaning where we see I effective, we are going to substitute what is equal to I effective. Then the I inside the bracket there, that is called the nominal. In this case, we are looking for this I that is inside the bracket. Where we see the M and the M, it is the compounding period. That's why here we have what is called the compounded quarterly. Where we see these two M, that's where we are going to substitute our compounding period. Now, let us substitute. We have the I effective that is equal to 7.5%. You can't just substitute 7.5% where you see I effective. Remember, you need to say 7.5%, which is I effective. Please remember to divide that 7.5 always by 100%. This is the correct substitution when you have divided by 100%. That is said to be equal to, open bracket, 1 plus. Remember, where I see I inside the bracket, I'm not going to substitute nothing there because that is an I that I'm looking for, which is I nominal. Divide. M, it is the compounding period. Now we have the compounded quarterly. Then quarters, it means 3 months. The 3 months that we have in 1 year, there are 4 3 months. Where we see M, we substitute the 4, which is quarters of the year. Then close bracket, all to power of the same, 4 minus 1. Now 7.5 divided by 100, we just have to simplify that, which give us 0.075. which is also equal to, in bracket, 1 plus I divided by 4, close bracket, all to power of 4, minus 1. Then now we see 0,075, and this one on the right hand side, they are like terms because both of them are numbers. Then we are going to take 1 and bring it to the left hand side so that we are able to add the 2. Then 0,075. Then on the right hand side, we have a negative 1. When we bring it to this side, then it needs to change the sign, which give us a plus 1. That is said to be equal to, in bracket, 1 plus I divided by 4, close bracket, all to power of 4. Then 0,075 plus 1, then it gives us 1,075, which is equal to, in bracket, 1 plus I divided by 4, all to power of 4. Now, you can't just take this I outside, the I that we are looking for, because now, outside the bracket, we have the power there. We need to get rid of this 4 outside. Then to get rid of the power, which is in this case, it's a 4, then on this side, we are going to take what is called the fourth root here. The fourth root is going to take care of the 4. Then the fourth root cancel with the 4, which is the exponent there. Then we are going to repeat the same thing to take the fourth root of 1,075. Then the fourth root of 1,075, it gives us 1,01882, which is equal to 1 plus I divided by 4. Now we are good to go. Then we are going to bring this one to the side. Then when we do that, we are going to have 1,01882 minus 1. That is said to be equal to I divided by 4. Then 1,0182 minus 1. Then it gives us 0,0182, which is equal to I divided by 4. Then here we are going to have over 1 because we want to cross multiply. Then I multiplied by 1, it becomes I. That is equal to, then 0,0182 multiplied by 4, it gives us 0,0773. Then this is I in a number form. We need to convert it to percentage. Then multiply by 100%. This is going to give us I nominal, that is equal to, then multiply by 100%. It gives us 7,3% per annum compounded quarterly. That is your I nominal as 7,3% per annum compounded quarterly. Then mark allocation in this case, it will be equal to 4 marks there, given for Mahala there. Then we are going to go through the entire paper on the next video. This is how far we can go with the first part of our video.